Hello Year 4, this is Miss Baker, and in today's lesson we're going to be creating a pop art poster. And the purpose of creating this pop art poster is so that you can show me what you understand about pop art. So what I would like you to do is you can print off this template at home, or you can trace it or draw it into a sketchbook, whichever are the options that you prefer. And then I would like you to include some key facts about pop art. I've given you some lines here. So things that you've learnt this term. And then underneath it says, name a pop artist that you like. So that could be one that we've researched together, or it can be one that you discover on your own. And then I would like you to tell me what it is you like about their artwork. So give me your opinion. Then once you've done that, you're going to be adding pop art colours to the image that I've drawn out for you here and to these pop art symbols here. So I'd like you to use bright, bold colours. If you're ever unsure, always stick to primary colours and secondary colours. And you can even include some patterns such as pointillism and stripes in some of these shapes if you wish. So I'm going to begin by adding a really bright pink to my pop art text. So as we've done in previous lessons, you make sure your pencil's really sharp, and then you're going to draw around the outline of the text with a border, and that helps you to stay within the lines. So you may wish to do all of the borders first. Because it's bubble type writing, we haven't really got any straight lines in this section, so you're just going to be having to draw the border freehand. To make it easier for yourself, rotate the paper . So I've got my pop art border there, and then I'm going to press on the side of my pencil, and I'm going to do circular motion. So I'm just going to round with my pencil, if you can see. And that creates a smooth finish. And then as I get further in to the centre, I'm applying less pressure on my pencil so it gets lighter and lighter, and that shows tone. So there we go. I'm going to do the same with this letter too. So darkest on the edge, then medium, and then a really light pressure to create a light tone. And as I get to the centre, I'm just going to leave that. And then finally, I'm going to do the same on this final letter. So you don't have to use pink, you can use any colour that you wish, as long as it's a bright, bold colour. We don't want any greys, we don't really want any browns, or any colours that are too pale, any pastel colours. We just want bright, bold, vibrant colours. Then what I'm going to do is to make my pop a little bit more vibrant. I'm also going to add a border around this section, around this section, and around this section, and then I'm going to add a medium tone to that. Keep on using circular motion, and then a light tone. So it's kind of the same as what we've just done a minute ago. So I'm following that dark tone around with a medium tone, and then a light tone. And the same on this. So again, don't mind what colour you use, just to ensure it's a bright pop-art colour. Then, I think what I'm going to do with the art is, I think I'll also use the same colour. So I'm going to use a pink colour, but this time I'm going to apply tone in a slightly different way. So I'm going to very lightly draw my border, but I'm only going to do it fairly lightly this time. It's still good practice to draw your borders first so that you don't go outside your lines. Just going to put a bit more light onto the page so that you can see what I'm doing. Hopefully that's a little bit better. And again, I'm not doing one really big line, I'm doing lots of little lines so that I'm accurate. Then I'm going to do borders around this section too. Okay, now I've drawn my borders. Like I said, I'm going to do tone, but in a slightly different way. So first of all, I'm going to fill in the whole thing with a really light tone. And hopefully you can see that I'm still using circular motion. I'm just doing a light shade of pink across the whole of my letters. There we go. And then just on the edges here, I'm going to make my pink tone a bit darker. So kind of on the bottom, I'm going to make that darker. Still using circular motion. So now I've got a light pink and a dark pink. But to blend that tone into that tone, I'm just going to add a medium tone. So it looks like a fade now. And there we go. So as you can see, I've skipped ahead slightly, and I've applied colouring tone to my blue cloud shape. And now I'm going to have a go at doing exactly the same on this cloud here. So what we're going to do is apply our border, using my ruler because I can, because these are straight lines. And then apply our border here. But now I have to use so we're going to continue to add our border. Little pencil lines, and then using circular motion we're going to apply a light blue shade to the cloud. I'm going quite fast here, but you might need to take a little bit more time. And every now and again you're going to need to sharpen your pencils too. When you come to part sections where you've got another object overlaying, then you'll need to draw a border around that object so that you don't go into that shape with the blue colour. Okay, now I can just relax. There we go. Now because this shape here is resting on top of the cloud, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go a bit darker around this edge. That just helps it to look a little bit more interesting and three-dimensional. It's as if this shape is casting a shadow onto the cloud. So I'm just going to press a little harder and apply a medium turn around that. So there we go. Now the next thing I think I'm going to do is same method, apply my border, and I'm going to add a green colour to this shape. Right, so I've added the green colour to my shape, but I've also noticed we've got little sections up here that are also going to be needed to fill in with the green colour, because the text is sitting on top of this shape, so you can still see these little sections in green. That also means because this text is sitting on top of this green shape, these sections here are going to also be green. So again, follow the same method of adding the border and then filling it in, adding a little border and filling it in. Now because this text is sitting on top of this, there might be a little bit of a shadow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that into a very dark green. So again, border, and I'm going to fill that section in, pressing quite hard, and create a dark shade of green. So now it looks like there's a shadow behind the text. I'm going to do that this section too, and over on this section. And then if we wanted to make that stand out even more, to really pop, we could get a darker shade of green, or it could be a dark blue. And I'm going to make that green even bolder. So if you can use your ruler, wherever you can, do so. I've got my border and I'm just making it a little bit darker. And I'm going to do the same around this section too. And I might even do the in-between of the letters here too. So that really helps it to stand out. But what I am going to do is I'm going to leave this all white. And what I've noticed over here is that this T is sitting on top of this cloud. So in fact, if we leave a white border around the edge, but this is casting a shadow onto the cloud. So what that means, sorry, wrong blue there. What that means is that that section would be a really dark shade of blue. So I start off with the blue that I've used before, and then I've got a slightly darker shade of blue here, and I can draw my border and then add that over the top. Right. Now, the next thing would be to maybe think about adding some colour to these stars. So I think I'm going to go for a yellow colour. So again, you add your border, and once you're happy with that, you fill them in. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I've filled in my stars, made them yellow. Again, whatever colour you'd like to use, as long as it's bold. And then what I'm going to do is apply a background colour. So I'm going to have orange, and I've used my ruler because I've got some straight edges here. So to this section, I'm going to apply orange. I'm going to draw on everything with a border first. Right, year 4, so you can see that I've actually drawn around everything, all of the background, with an orange border. And now I'm just doing the same method as before and adding my yellow tone using circular motion. So again, you wouldn't necessarily have to use orange, you could use whatever colour that you'd like to use, as long as it's bold. I'm not going to do all of this today because I want you to spend time working on the actual artwork rather than just watching me, but I just wanted to provide you with an example. So you can see I'm still using circular motion as well, so I get a nice smooth finish. So circular motion, to recap, is doing almost like loops with your pencil in different directions, so you get a nice smooth finish overall. Okay. So if I were to continue with this, I'd add my orange tone to all of these sections. And then what I might do is, because this word pop is placed on top of this orange background, then it would cast a shadow onto the orange. So this section here, which looks like a shadow underneath the letter P, we'll do that in a deep shade of orange, and we can see it in there, and it's casting shadow here too, so we'll make sure that's really dark, but it doesn't particularly stand out very well. So we're going to do some colour blending, so you can get a red and layer that on top of the orange. So do your border and then layer that red on top, and that's an orangey red which stands out. Let's do the same here. So a little tip for you is when you are doing this, if you ever wonder about what colours blend nicely together, two things you can do. One is you can get up the colour wheel, and generally colours that are next to each other on the colour wheel you can blend. So oranges and reds you can blend really nicely together, and blues and greens. But colours that are opposite on the colour wheel, if you try and blend them, you'll get a muddy colour. So I'd have the colour wheel up in front of you to help you if you're ever wondering about that. Or alternatively, test on the back of a piece of paper or a scrap piece of paper. So we've completed that section now, and like I said, I'd like you to fill in all of these areas. And what I'm going to tell you to do next is, if we look down, further down on the paper here, you'll see that we've got some pop art symbols. So we've got a lightning strike and an arrow. So with the arrow, what you could do is you could try some more colour blending. So I'm going to use a yellow colour first of all. And that's going to be my base colour. So hopefully you can see I'm still, just move this pencil out the way, I'm still doing my border. Whether you are in year 4 or whether you're much older, in year 11, I still suggest you do borders so that you stay within your lines. Then I'm adding, using circular motion, my yellow as the base colour. Then I'm going to try some colour blending with orange and red. So I just need to give my orange a quick sharpen. And I'm going to have my orange tone coming about halfway down my lightning bolt, so probably to about there. Again, I'll do my border, and then I'm just going to do circular motion and blend my orange over the top of my yellow. And as I come down to where I finished drawing my border, I'm just going to very gently fade that orange into the yellow, really pressing very lightly. So I've got some nice colour blend in there, and now I'm going to apply the red. So not as far as the orange this time, so only about down to there. And then I'm going to apply my red tone. And again, less pressure so that it fades gradually into the orange. So there are some colour blending. So you could do those with those colours, and if not, you could try doing it with light blue, darker blue, and maybe you could even add a bit of dark purple over the top. So if you mix the blue and the purple, you could create, sorry, the blue and the pink, you could create a purpley tinge. I'll show you an example here. So these are the three colours that I've got. So I've got my light blue, my dark blue, and I suppose it's a pinky purple I actually have. Do that, press really hard, and then I've got some colour blending but using cool colours as opposed to warm colours, so perhaps you could use them on your arrow. Again, you can use whatever colours you wish, just make sure that they're bold. And I think I'm going to leave it there for today so that you have time to have a go yourself. I'm just going to show you the whole thing. Get in position for you. Okay, so like I said, I'd like you to carry on and complete the whole thing. Good luck year 4, and I look forward to seeing your results. If you would like some feedback, please remember to attach it to the task. Finally, I've just remembered, I forgot to tell you one last thing. Sometimes with pop art artwork, they do have black outlines. So if you did want to add any black outlines afterwards, I would do it at the very end, like we're doing now, because black can create smudges over your work. And then you could apply a black border or an outline to things like the clouds. So you do have to be careful, like I said, because it smudges. So if you don't want to, you don't have to. I'm just going to do a section of it for you, not the whole thing. But I've drawn my black outline there, and then I just fill it in very carefully with circular motion, making sure that my pencil's nice and sharp. And you can see it does make your work stand out. However, like I said, you do have to be careful because it can smudge. So you might want to put a piece of paper underneath the part that you're leaning on so you don't smudge your work. So I'm only going to do this one cloud, but if you wish, you can apply the black and you could do both clouds. And you could even apply the black into these lines here. But that's entirely up to you. It's your poster, it's your design. Just do my border again, because it's quite important that we don't go outside the lines. Great, okay. Thanks girls and boys.